So I've been asked to speak on something from Bhagavad Gita, but before I do, I'm going to ask you a question. I've been traveling for the last, I've been back about a week and a half now, but prior to that, the previous 5 weeks, I was traveling all over India. Now, I've been going to India since 1976, which is before many of you were born. Not most, but some of you anyway, were not born in that time. And I realized that in all the times I've been to India, well, I've been there many times, I'd never been in the state of Gujarat. So I decided this time I'm going to visit Gujarat. So I landed in Mumbai, went to Surat, Baroda, Ahmedabad, then flew from Ahmedabad to Navi Mumbai, went to Kargar, Thane, Bhiwandi, then so many places I'm forgetting some, I'm sure. Then Chennai, then Kolkata, then Mayapur, then back to Kolkata, then from Kolkata to Bengaluru. No. To
That's more than me.
yeah, I'm just telling him so many. I can't keep the order straight, but where did I go after that? Oh, Abid and the two temples in what is that major city in the south that I'm forgetting right now? Senior moment. Hyderabad, yes. In Hyderabad they have two temples. One is called Abid, and then the other one is something poor. I remember so many places I've been to. Then from there flew to Bengaluru. From there to Delhi, Delhi to Vrindavan, then back to Delhi, and then back to New York. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because everywhere I travel, and I recommend, I call this ISKCON tourism. I recommend it to all of you. Srila Prabhupada founded an International Society for Krishna Consciousness in 1966, as most of you know. This year is the 60th anniversary. We'll be having a huge gala festival in Manhattan, so everybody should come, make a plan to come. I'm telling that to everybody all over the world, but you have no excuse. You're right here, so you have to come. So Prabhupada could have named the society because he was a member of the Gaudiya Math. So when he came to New York, he could have called his society Gaudiya Math West, or Gaudiya Math Manhattan, or Gaudiya Math New York, or Gaudiya Math US. He didn't. He created a separate branch called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, known worldwide by the acronym ISKCON. But I'm sure I'm not the only one that experiences this. If you go online especially, you notice a lot of times people leave the K out. They write ISCON. Yeah, have you seen that ever? They write ISCON. They leave the K out. So whenever you see that, do what I do. Write to them and say, don't leave Krishna out of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's not just an International Society for Consciousness. It's an International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And Prabhupada drove that point home from the very beginning, because someone was suggesting, why are you calling it Krishna Consciousness? Nobody knows who's Krishna. Why not say International Society for God Consciousness? Prabhupada said, no. I want people to know that Krishna is God. So International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's funny, even in a temple, one ISKCON temple, I saw there was a sign in the elevator and they had ISCON. So I took my pen out and I put a K in there. So we should always remember that. We are members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which means we should try to be Krishna conscious. We're all conscious living beings. I'm conscious of you as an audience, you're conscious of me as a speaker, you're conscious of each other. But we're not always conscious of Krishna, who is the support and the source of everything. That's why Prabhupada said one time in Los Angeles, you think you're sitting on the floor, but I know I'm sitting on Krishna. So whatever we do, as Krishna says, whatever we do, whatever we offer, whatever we eat, whatever we give away, whatever austerities we perform, we should do that as an offering to Him. And in this way we remain Krishna conscious. Earlier in the Kirtan, Maharaj kept asking us to focus on the Mahamantra. Why is it so difficult? It shouldn't be. It's only 3 words. Krishna, everybody say. Krishna. What does Krishna mean? Krishna is the all-attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then there's Rama. What does everybody say? Rama. Rama is the indication that God, Krishna, is the source of all pleasure. Rama. But if we notice the way the mantra is constructed, there are 4 Krishnas, 4 Ramas, and 8 Hares. And what does Hare mean? Radharani, calling to Radharani. So it's balanced. We have 4 feminine, 4 masculine. Everything is perfect in Krishna consciousness. Everything is perfect in the Vedic presentation. We just have to take the time to focus, as Maharaj keeps saying, focus. Just focus on those 3 words. So this year is an opportunity to really do that, to focus on Krishna through Prabhupada's presentation. This is Prabhupada's accomplishment, his gift to the world, is to give everybody Krishna. And that's what we need. That's what we need. We try to be happy through so many means. Mostly financial. Everybody keeps thinking, if I can just double my wealth, I'll be happy. I have 1 crore, if I have 2 crores, I'll be happy. But is that a guarantee of happiness? Having more money? Be honest. No. Most of us were happier when we were kids with no money. No money, no headaches, just hang out with the friends and run around and play and no worries about anything. So that's the spiritual world. That's exactly the spiritual world. Everybody's just hanging out and happy, and all the tendencies that we have here, we have because Krishna has. Like sometimes we like to tease each other. Hey man, come on, cut that mustache. I don't like the way it looks. We tease each other about our appearance or whatever. That goes on in the spiritual world, but there's no meanness. Here in the material world, when we tease somebody, there's some meanness in there. And so they may get angry. But in the spiritual world, everything is perfect. In the spiritual world, there's even theft. Krishna is stealing butter. Makkanchor, he's stealing butter. But everybody is happy when Krishna steals. When the gopis go to Mother Yashoda and they complain, Mother Yashoda, your son, he's stealing our butter and yogurt. Mother Yashoda, okay, I'll stop him. No, don't stop him. First of all, Mother Yashoda gets a little bit angry. You think there's no butter and yogurt in my house? That my son has to come to your house and steal? Yes, you have butter and yogurt, but he still comes to our house. So everything in the spiritual world is perfect, and that's what Srila Prabhupada has come to give us. Today, a young devotee that I know in India, he said that he has to leave because he has to renew his get another new 5-year visa to India. So Srila Prabhupada has come to give us an eternal visa to the spiritual world. Don't need to renew it. Just get it one time, you go back, and that's it. So we should take that seriously. We can take it seriously. It's very nice to see that there are so many children here, because this is the prime responsibility of the parents, is to pass on this attraction to Krishna. But you can't fake it. If you're not attracted to Krishna, you can't make your kids attracted to Krishna. You can't tell your kids, go to the Sunday Peace if you want to stay home and watch cricket or some soap opera or something. So it has to start with you. As parents, you have to have a genuine interest in this Krishna consciousness. So as I was traveling, because most of these temples nowadays, they're just young devotees, second generation, new devotees like that. So I always start by asking, why do we chant this Jaya Radha Madhava before we speak? Why do we do that? What's the reason? Everybody should know the answer. And the answer is sitting right there. Because Srila Prabhupada did it. We chant Jaya Radha Madhava because Srila Prabhupada did it. When we give class, we repeat the translation, the synonyms, everything because Prabhupada did it. We chant the Prema Dwani prayers because Prabhupada did it. The point I'm making is that this is Prabhupada's movement. And sometimes, I'm sure it may have happened to some of you already, people from other organizations, they come and they say, ISKCON is okay, but we do things differently, we do things better, or we have higher philosophy we can give you. Just tune them out. Do things the Prabhupada way. Whatever Prabhupada did was perfect. He was perfectly empowered to spread Krishna consciousness all around the world. That's patently obvious. Even the most envious person has to admit that Srila Prabhupada succeeded in spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. Just about every major city in the world has an ISKCON temple because of Srila Prabhupada. And I've been to many of them. I've been to every Scandinavian country except for Finland, and I'm going there next month. Because I'm going to UK Rath Yatra, London Rath Yatra, And I said, okay, it's not that far. Let me go to Finland first, and then from there I'll go to UK. And as I said, I've been going to India since '76. I've been to every European country except for, well, the small ones like Monaco, they don't really count. But Portugal I haven't been to as a major country. All the other European countries I've been to. And the point is, again, that when you travel in Prabhupada's ISKCON, you realize what he's done. You realize the accomplishment, how difficult it was for a 70-year-old person to leave India, come to the United States with no money, no support, no friends, nothing. Bhagavan Narada was telling me earlier how, when somebody comes from India or Bangladesh or wherever and they contact him, he tries his best to help set them up, get them a place to stay and like that, which is very nice. We should assist. But we should have that mood towards everybody because we're all family.
Come in a little bit more. So
we're all family. And through Srila Prabhupada, we gradually realized that we're all family. As I was saying last night at the memorial service for Shiva Radha Prabhu, that if you trace your genealogy materially, your father, his father, you come back to Lord Brahma, the first created being. If you trace your spiritual genealogy, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, Gaura Kishore Das Babaji, you come to Brahma. We're in the Brahma Madhya Gaudiya Sampradaya. So whichever way you trace it, we're family. So why don't we act like family? Why do we sometimes not sometimes, almost all the time, we don't act like family? We act like we're a bunch of strangers. We don't like each other. Even within the immediate family, what to speak of the extended family. That's because we're in Maya. Somebody who's Krishna conscious like Srila Prabhupada, he sees the connection between everybody as part and parcel of Krishna. So not making that distinction that here's an Indian person, here's an American person, not that you don't see and you don't know where somebody comes from, but you're not affected by it. You don't let your consciousness be affected by where the person comes from. And Krishna says that this is one of the indications that a human being is in animal consciousness. Krishna says in the 11th canto, speaking to Uddhava, said, Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridatake. Swadik kalachadishu bhoma ijati. Yatirtha buddhi shalile nakaharichit janeshu abigeshu sa eva gokara. Krishna speaking. How do we know that somebody, even though they're in human body, they're in animal consciousness? These things. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridatake. This body that we all have, whether it's male or female, young or old, black or white, American or Indian, it's a bag of skin full of bone, blood, so many things that are not desirable. But we identify with this body. Not only do we sometimes think that we're Indian, but I'm from a particular part of India. I'm Bengali. Right? Or a Maharashtrian, or wherever you come from, you identify with that place. So that's called Boma Ijjadi, thinking that wherever I took birth is a sacred place. Yes, your place may be nice, your place may be nice, but where I come from, that is the most important place. That's called Boma Ijjadi, identifying with your place of birth as being something special. Now I have to say in this lifetime I was very fortunate. I was never really in that consciousness. I was born on the island of Jamaica, 1952. And from birth, practically, I always thought that I'm a citizen of the universe. I don't belong to this little island in the Caribbean. And after my family moved to the United States, I didn't feel, even though I'm an American citizen, I never felt I'm American. I felt part of something broader. Because as far back as I can remember, maybe age 4 or 5, before we moved to the United States, still in Jamaica, the light pollution in the city was very, very minuscule. So on a dark moon night, you could really see the universe. You can see all those constellations and galaxies out there. And I remember, even as a child, thinking, where did all this come from? It's not an accident. It's obviously not an accident. This is before I even started school. Because my mother was a school teacher and I learned to read very early. So even at age 4, I was reading and comprehending. And I could understand, this is not an accident. This is some design. How do I fit into this design? So that prepared me for later on meeting Srila Prabhupada's literature. I may have said this before in the last time, but this little pamphlet called Krishna and the Reservoir of Pleasure, that's what attracted me. I bought it on a street, J Street, just a few blocks from where the current temple is in New York. I was studying civil engineering. Walking down the street, I saw a brahmachari, the bright saffron clothes, sitting at a table with books. Went over, had a conversation. I just bought that one little pamphlet. But the very first sentence of that pamphlet is so powerful. Prabhupada says, Krishna, that sound is transcendental. Krishna means the highest pleasure. Every one of us is looking for pleasure, but we don't know where to look. So we have to admit, we want happiness, we want pleasure, but we're looking in all the wrong places. Again, we're thinking if I just double my income, or if I marry this person, or if I get this job, or if I move to this country. Like now they're saying a lot of Americans, because of the current political climate, are leaving America. They're going to other countries. Will that make them happier? Maybe superficially for a little while, but it doesn't solve the real problem of life. One time I was having lunch with one of my godbrothers who was an initiating guru in ISKCON, and he was complaining to me privately. He said that, so many of my disciples, they come to me and bother me. Guru Maharaj, can I have permission to leave this temple and go to that temple? And he said they don't realize wherever they go, their mind goes with them. So it's not a question of changing this position for that position. That's not going to make you happy. Your mind goes with you. And you're seeing the world through the lens of that mental situation. Whatever your mind is, that's how you see the world. And that you carry with you wherever you go. So don't be so eager always to change the externals. I move from here to there, I get a different job, I get a different wife or a different husband. It's not going to solve the problem. The real problem is here. And therefore the spiritual master, the duty of the spiritual master is to teach us how to think properly. Because as long as we're not thinking properly, then our vision is colored. That's mentioned by Rishabdev in the 5th canto. Karmatmakam yena sharirma. Your vision is covered by karma, desire for fruitive results. I want to work, but I want all the results for me. And then if I'm a little bit generous, I give a little bit to my family, a little bit to the... But I am putting in the heart. But no, Krishna says, no, you're not working. 327, everybody should know. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani savasha. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. The conditioned soul, bewildered by the three modes of material nature, thinks himself or herself to be the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the modes of nature. So we're like witnessing. We desire, and then we witness some activity going on, trying to fulfill those desires, but ultimately, we're not the doer. And therefore, the prime responsibility of the spiritual master is to teach us how to think properly, how to desire properly. What is really desirable? Again, most people think money, 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 money. And most political leaders will tell you, I will make you happy by increasing the economic flow. It doesn't happen. We see all around the world, it doesn't happen. Even again, and for some time it seems like all the indices are going up, all indicators are showing things are getting better, and then all it takes is one war, can't get any oil. We're living in a temporary miserable place. Dukalayam ashashvatam, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. But as conditioned souls, lifetime after lifetime, we try to prove Krishna, God, wrong. He's saying that it's temporary and it's miserable. I'll show him. I'll make so many plans. I will be happy. I'll be the exception. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. So what is it that we want? We want fulfilling relationships. Nobody here wants just objects. Yes, we may focus sometimes on want the latest iPhone or the latest Tesla car or whatever, but most of the time we want satisfying relationships. Family, friends, generally broken into those two categories. We want nice familial relationships, and we want nice friendly relationships. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am your best friend. 529, Suridam Sarvabhutanam. I am your not just friend, Surit, Prabhupada explained once. There are different kinds of friends. But the dearmost is the Surit, one who's dear to the heart. You cannot separate from your heart. That is the best kind of friend. So Krishna says, I am that kind of friend. So the whole point of the Bhagavad Gita, we're going to read one verse, is Krishna's reminding us that he is that friend that we're looking for. Because all other friends, even within the family, like I said, generally we break into two categories, family and friends. But on both sides, we're generally, ultimately disappointed. The parents have certain desires for the kids, it doesn't work out. And vice versa, the kids have certain desires for the parents. Why don't you die early and leave me all the money? My friend's parents are already gone, left him a lot of money. I'm not just saying that. As a young devotee, I joined in 73, so this was about 74, early 75, because early 75 I shifted from New York to Los Angeles. They changed ISKCON Press into BBT. So one devotee, he was also a brahmachari at the time. One day, the word came that his parents had died and they left him $800,000, which in today's money is like $3 million. The buying power of $800,000 in 1973. You compare that to what you can buy now. A house was maybe $30,000. A car was like $4,000. An expensive car, a Cadillac, was like $5,000. So the buying power of $800,000 in 1974 is like so much more than you can imagine. So yeah, the word came. As soon as he got his hand on the money, took off the neck beads, threw away the bead bag, he was gone. About 10 years later, no, maybe a little more than that, 10, 12 years later, I happened to be in Florida, and I met this person, and he came up to me and said, do you remember me? And I looked at him. You look familiar, but no, I have to be honest, I don't remember. So then he reminded me. He said, not only were we brahmacharis together in the New York temple in 74, but you made me a devotee, and that shocked me. I didn't remember making him a devotee. He said, yes, you came to a house program, and you took the time to preach to me and convince me to try out Krishna consciousness. Anyway, long story short, he ran away with the $800,000. He got married to a non-devotee. They had 2 children, and within a couple of years, she divorced him and took all the money. So now, in his miserable state, he came back to Krishna after running away 10, 12 years earlier. So don't do that. Don't ever leave Krishna, no matter what. Because there's nothing but Krishna. There's nothing but Krishna. This is what we need to be convinced of. We keep thinking that there are other things, other means, other methods, other opportunities. There's only Krishna. When Narad Muni was preaching to Vyasadeva, because Vyasadeva, he had written the Vedas, the 4 Vedas were there, the Mahabharata was there, the Itihasas were there, but he was still not feeling satisfied. So Narad Muni's Guru Maharaj, he chastised him. He said, but before he told him the root cause of his lack of happiness, he said, Idam ibishvam bhagavan ivetaro. Yatoja jagatstana niroda sambhava. Taddi swayam vedavabam tatapite. Pradeshamacham bhavatak pradarshitam. He said, Idam ibishvam bhagavan ivetaro. He said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, is himself this cosmos. God, Krishna, is himself. In other words, all the things that we're chasing after, they're just minute representations of God's energy, Krishna's energy. Again, we're chasing after money, we're chasing after relationships with other conditioned souls that will never work out. But all of this is just a small fraction of Krishna's energy. Yato jagatstanam niroda sambhava. He creates everything, he maintains everything, and ultimately destroys everything. Tadhi soyam vedava. He said, your good self knows all of this. I've just given you a synopsis. So we should know this. By reading Prabhupada's books, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we should know that Krishna is himself this cosmos. And whatever we're chasing after in terms of trying to be happy is just a small fraction of Krishna's potency. So why chase after a small fraction when you can have the potent source himself? He's inviting, he's saying, come. He's saying, come back to me. Prabhupada said when he comes as Krishna, as he did 5,000 years ago, he demands, Sarvadharman Parityajya, you surrender to me. Because he's God, that's God's position, to demand. But we are so foolish, Prabhupada said, we say, who is this person to demand? I don't want anybody to demand anything of me. I must do this, I must do that. So knowing our mentality, he comes back again. Because when Krishna leaves, Kali Yuga begins. So in that immediate Kali Yuga after Krishna departs, he comes back as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. And Gaura Nitai. Gaura Nitai. You have your Gaura Nitai deities here, but I notice as I travel all over the ISKCON world, you go to some householders' domicile, their home, they have a big picture of Radha Krishna, they may even have Ganesh, they may even have Nrsingadev, Shiva, but in many homes you don't see any picture of Gaura Nitai. So I always remind them, this is Gaura Nitai's movement. Yes, it's nice to have Radha Krishna and all these other, but you must have Gaura Nitai. This movement, ISKCON, is strictly Gaura Nitai's movement. It's a movement to remind us of the mercy of Gaura and Nitai. Gaura and Nitai, they appeared like the sun and the moon on the horizon of Gauda Desh. And why? Why did they come? To benedict all of us, to give us the mercy of Krishna Prema. Even though we're not qualified. I know at least I can speak for myself. A little bit curious about spirituality, but not really serious until I met Srila Prabhupada. So most people fall into that category. They go to church, they go to mosque, they go to temple. Why? To ask God for something. Practically demand. Give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that, give me. Most people in most religious traditions, that's what they go to their religious institution for. To ask God to give me. But Gaura Nitai, they show us that if instead of asking all the time, we simply agree to hear about Krishna from authorized sources. We agree to hear about Krishna, to chant Krishna's name, to offer what we eat before we eat it. If we just do these simple things, then the natural love of God that is there in the heart, which is the goal of should be the goal of all spiritual practices, and that natural love just comes out. Just like a mother doesn't have to be taught to love her offspring. It's just natural. The love just flows. So our love for Krishna is there. And it's only being impeded by the covering of Maya. So that natural love that is there gets transformed into lust. So we'll chant one verse from the Bhagavad Gita, which is authorized source of knowledge about Krishna. So this is the 12th chapter, which is entitled Devotional Service. And it's actually a double verse, 6 and 7. And what time do we stop? Because I can talk for hours.
We should start for questions very soon.
Okay.
Literally within about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay. So I'll just recite the verse myself and the translation. And then it's a pretty long purport. We'll just read a few sentences and then we can open up the floor for discussion. So this is this 12th chapter again, devotional service. Krishna says, Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasamat paraha Ananyena yogena mam jayanta upasate. And then the next one, I think most of you know, Tesha mahang samudarta mrityu sangsara sagarat. Pavamina charat parta maya veshita chetasam. So Srila Prabhupada's translation for this double verse, and it's a translation I think most of you are familiar with. He says, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me, without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So this is where we're located. Whether we're living on Long Island, or in Brooklyn, or in Paris, or London, we're actually living in the ocean of birth and death. That's where we're living. Some people are striving always to have ocean view. And it's kind of funny in Southern California, especially in the Malibu area where a lot of rich people live. Technically in the United States, you're not supposed to block access to the ocean. Everybody's supposed to have access. But in that particular area, they're famous. They disguise the pathways that lead down to the ocean so they can discourage the public from coming there, because they're rich people. They don't want ordinary people coming and going to the ocean. So every so much distance, you're supposed to have access to the ocean. But they block it. They cover it over. They put signs. They move the signs that show you. See, they want their ocean access and they don't want anybody else to have it. But everybody has ocean access to the ocean of birth and death. So Krishna says, I will deliver you from this ocean of birth and death. So I'll just read a couple of lines of the purport. Prabhupada says, it is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to Him. His duty is to render service to the Lord, and if he does not, then he will render service to Maya. Because by nature, we are servants. Jivera Sarupai Krishnera Nityadas. This is our identity. We are by nature meant to serve. And we cannot give up that propensity. It's not possible. It's who we are. And therefore, Prabhupada pointed out many times that he noticed that in New York, he said, a rich man, he has nobody at home anymore to serve, so he gets a dog. And he serves the dog. He walks the dog, he waits for the dog to do his doggy business. Nowadays, he has to clean up after him. Previously, that wasn't the case. When Prabhupada was around in the 70s, there was no cleanup law. So New York smelled very bad because there was dog excrement everywhere. Finally, they realized this is not good. So they passed a law, you must clean up after your pet. But that's our nature. We have the nature to serve. If we don't serve God, then we'll have to serve Maya, as Prabhupada is saying here. Maya means that which is not. It looks real. It looks like it's going to give us pleasure, but it doesn't. Maya. It's not real. Not really in the sense that it's not permanent. Some people say that it's not real at all. The Mayavadis, they say, Brahma Satyam Jagam Mitya. It's not, but we say no, it's real, but it's temporary. It's real, but it's temporary. And because we're eternal living entities, we cannot find pleasure in anything that's temporary. Yehi sangsparshaja bhoga dukkha yona evite. This is also in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 522. That those who are intelligent, they don't take pleasure on the material plane. Because they know all of the so-called pleasure in the material world has a beginning and an end. And therefore, those who are wise, they don't delight in that. It's not that they don't engage at all, they don't delight in it. Just like we have to eat. Of course, we delight in prasadam because we offer the bhoga and then we are allowed to enjoy the prasadam. But those who don't offer, as Krishna says, Yagya Shishtashanakshanta Muchante Savakilvashai Bunjate Tetagam Papam Ye Pachantya Makarana. So the devotees of the Lord, meaning us, we're relieved from all kinds of problems in the world because we offer what we eat before we eat it. Krishna says, and this is on a battlefield, try to understand. He's speaking to Arjuna on a battlefield. So this is very important. He wouldn't take the time to say this if it wasn't important. So those who eat only for the pleasure of the tongue, they verily eat only sin. So very important part of devotional life is to make sure you offer what you eat before you eat it. And that means you have to make sure that it's offerable. Sometimes, as devotees, we neglect to read the labels carefully. And then we realize later on that we offered something that we shouldn't have offered. Even something like ice cream. I've told this story so many times, but it's very... One Sankirtan leader, because at the end of the year they have the Sankirtan Marathon, book distribution marathon. And then after the marathon, generally there's a big feast for all the book distributors. So this Sankirtan leader, he thought after the feast the devotee should have something nice, some ice cream. And in those days, it's not the case anymore. Be very careful. In those days, Breyer's ice cream was okay for devotees because it was just cream, sugar, and vanilla. That's it. No long list of sorbets and gums and this and that. Nothing like that. It was just those three ingredients. So it was okay. But this Sankirtan leader thought, why should I give them just Breyer's vanilla? Why don't I buy them something more fancy like French vanilla? So he bought French vanilla. But before it was offered, somebody took the time to look at the label, and French vanilla has eggs in it. That's the difference between French vanilla and regular vanilla. French vanilla has eggs, and we don't offer Krishna eggs. We don't eat eggs. So the point I'm making is that, yes, we should offer everything, but make sure it's offerable. Take the time to really read the labels, especially ice cream. Nowadays, there's so much junk that you'll find. The label is this long. The ingredient list is this long. If you see anything that's long like that, don't buy it. Not just ice cream. Practically any product that has a long list of ingredients, don't buy it. Because you'll drive yourself crazy trying to figure out what is guar gum, what is this, what is that, what is that. I noticed, though, that in Chennai, there's one ice cream shop there that the devotees said are okay because they only serve ice cream that is okay for devotees. They don't serve any ice cream that has eggs in it. Anyway, again, thank you for your kind attention. The point I'm trying to make is this, that Srila Prabhupada came to New York 60 years ago. He incorporated in International Society for Krishna Consciousness for our benefit. He was already a pure devotee of the Lord, already enjoying the highest rasas. But he went through all that trouble for our sake, to give us the opportunity to come back to the spiritual level of existence, which is the only place where we will be happy. We won't be happy if our political candidate of choice becomes whatever, governor or president or whatever. That's not going to make you happy. We won't be happy again if we quadruple our income. It's not going to make you happy. One time our god brother Ambarish, he said that. He said there's a saying in English that we all know, that money doesn't buy happiness. He said the rich people, like himself, they know. And he's very rich. He's given already $30 million to TOVP and still giving. He said the rich people know that is true because they have money and they're not happy. And the poor people hope that is true because they don't want to see the rich people happy. In other words, they're envious. So we're not going to be happy in the political realm. We're not going to be happy financially. We're not going to be happy even in our non-Krishna conscious relationships. And I'll end with this one. Prabhupada tells a story. He said there were two friends. They've been friends since childhood. Went to the same schools and all that, and they had a habit every day they meet at least for a few minutes to chit-chat, what's going on with you, what's going on, like that. Now they're in their 70s, and they're still doing that. Every day they meet, and they sit down and discuss what's going on in your life, what's going on in my life. So the one friend noticed one morning that his friend was completely morose. He said, what's going on? What's wrong? Something wrong? Nah, I don't want to. No, come on. We were friends for life. Tell me what's wrong. Nah, I don't want to. He kept pressing. He said, you really want to know? He said, I've been married for 50 plus years. And for those 50 plus years, I've been trying to make my wife happy, and she's still not happy. Now you can flip the coin. The women can say the same thing. I've been married for so long, I've been trying to make this man happy, and he's still not happy. That's just the nature of the material world, because we cannot be happy by any material metric. No matter how much I give you materially, big house, big car, this and that, you'll never be happy. And then we wonder, what's wrong with this guy? I've given him so much and he's still not happy. The answer is Krishna consciousness. Focus, as Mara said, focus on your Krishna consciousness. Just like all of you focus on your education. I'm sure we have in this room so many professionals. How did you get there? Focused. You focus. You didn't let your friends or family members distract you from your studies, and therefore you got that degree, sometimes multiple degrees. Focus. So we should take that same energy, ability to focus, and focus on Krishna consciousness. Focus on really trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. Focus on really trying to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Focus on chanting especially, and I'll end with this. All of us, those of us who are chanting, how many of you are chanting at least one round a day? Everybody put your hand up. So you should take that as sacred time. But we allow japa terrorists to distract us. And this is the number one japa terrorist. You're trying to chant your rounds. The hand is in the bead bag, but the eyes are on the phone. And then you start going like this. Don't do that. Don't do that. And you cannot properly interact with the Hare Krishna mantra if you purposely distract yourself. But actually, there's a bigger terrorist even than the smartphone, and that's the mind. And there are two ways the mind distracts us, by spacing out or spacing in. Spacing out means I'm chanting, but I notice everything that's happening, and I'm critical of the way this person did that, or something on the street. Spacing out. Spacing in means, in your mind, you're remembering something that you did 10 years ago or 10 days ago. You're planning something that you want to do tomorrow or a few years from now. In other words, you're letting the mind drag you from the past to the future. Don't do that. Just chant Hare Krishna, Prabhupada said, and hear Hare Krishna. No thinking. Because one time one disciple said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, when I'm chanting, sometimes I think, and Prabhupada immediately said, no thinking. Just chant Hare Krishna and hear Hare Krishna. In other words, don't listen to your mind. Just hear those three words. Hare Krishna and Rama. Hare Krishna. So, I think we may have a minute or two.
Yeah, we have. We'll take one or two questions.
Okay. Yes.
Just a second. Let me get that. Wait. Get the microphone. It won't amplify you, but it'll make it so that when people hear the video on YouTube, they'll be able
Hare
to
Krishna.
hear you.
How you met Prabhupada? How you met Prabhupada?
Well, I just told you. I bought a little pamphlet called Krishna, the Reservoir of Pleasure. I read it, and it made sense to me philosophically. So I started going to the Henry Street Temple, which was the third temple in ISKCON. The first temple was 26 2nd Avenue. How many of you have been there? Matchless Gifts. Yeah. You live in New York, you have to go there. How many of you have been to that tree in Tompkins Square Park where Prabhu stood at chanting Hare Krishna? Yeah, you have to go. So the first temple was 26 2nd Avenue, Matchless Gifts. Then after they lost that, somehow or other, they moved to 61 2nd Avenue. And then after they lost that, they moved to Henry Street. So Henry Street, which is about 15 minutes from the current Brooklyn Temple, you can still go there. So that was the third temple. That's where I joined. Adarshi Prabhu was there. And I was very fortunate that this was like spring 73, and just literally a few weeks after I started going, Prabhupada came. So that was the first time I saw him in person. But before he came, I noticed that the devotees were, as Hans Rupa was reminiscing this morning in his class, the devotees were like banging and building and carrying on. Actually, he wasn't there. He came later. So he's talking about another visit. But anyway, before this particular visit where I met Prabhupada, the devotees were banging and painting, and I asked, what's going on? They all said, Prabhupada is coming, Prabhupada is coming. And then the very first class I heard Prabhupada give, everybody should know that verse. 2nd chapter, text number 13. Come on, you should be reading Bhagavad Gita. Like I said, focus. Dehi nosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhiras tatra namuyati. That was the first class I heard Prabhupada give. And again, I was attracted by the philosophy. Everything that Prabhupada said made complete sense. So, shortly after that, I moved into the temple, and Prabhupada kindly accepted me as his disciple. Anything else?
Where did our microphone go? Anyone else have a question? Okay, so she
Yeah.
has a question. It's fine, it's fine. It won't amplify you, but it'll record you.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhu, you say like be attention to the Hare when you're chanting, but the mind is always like make you thinking, like it's automatically come. Like what's the procedure or how you can chant without thinking? Like thinking process is already coming, is ongoing,
Yeah.
but how to focus?
So it takes practice and determination. Srila Rupa Goswami says, for going forward in Krishna consciousness, we need three things. Utsahan, which means enthusiasm. You have to be enthusiastic about your chanting. It can't be just like a chore. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You have to realize the great opportunity. 8 billion human beings supposedly on the planet right now. And out of that, just a small number are seriously chanting Hare Krishna. So you're in a very elite club when you decide to pick up a bead bag and chant. You're an extremely elite club. So utsahan, be enthusiastic. Yes, now it's time to chant japa, and let me get into it. Just like we get into anything else. However, in the beginning, it's not so easy. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said one time that it's much easier to develop a taste for kirtan than for japa. But then it carries over. So when you come to the kirtan, like Maharaj was saying, focus. If you focus on kirtan, and if you really get into it, naturally you want to dance. Prabhupada said both things have to be there, chanting and dancing. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Chant, dance, take prasadam, and then just hear a little philosophy. Bas, those 4 things. You do that. So when you pick up your japa beads, try to put some enthusiasm in there. Then you have to be determined. I made a vow to chant 16 rounds, or whatever level you're at right now. I will not allow anything to stop me from finishing my rounds. Not my phone, not the boss calling, not anything. That's determination. But then you also have to be patient. Utsahan nishaya dhairyat. You have to be patient, understanding that it's not going to happen overnight. It's not that. I'll give you an example. When I was in the San Diego temple for a few years, there was one Indian gentleman, and it's not about Indian or not Indian, but he happened to be Indian. And he was coming regularly, and he became serious about chanting japa. He would come every morning before going to work, and he would walk around the temple room, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So one day he asked me, Prabhu, can I ask a question? I said, sure, sure. That's why we're here. How many times do I have to chant this mantra to become perfect? I said, it's not a fixed number. You have to surrender. You have to. He said, no. There has to be. What is it? 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs? He thought it was a mechanical process. If I just chant so many rounds, I'll be perfect. It doesn't work like that. Chanting Hare Krishna is the means, and it's also the goal. It's not that we're going to get to a point where we're perfect and then we can stop chanting. No. Eternally, you're going to be chanting Krishna's glories. You're going to be chanting Krishna's names. Not just Krishna and Rama, but Madhava, Makanchor, so many names of Krishna. But we will eternally be chanting Krishna's name. So we have to be enthusiastic, determined, and patient. Don't think that I've been chanting for 2 years and I'm not feeling any ecstasy. What are you going to do instead? Watch some soap opera? Watch a cricket match? Or that's not going to bring you any ecstasy. Whatever feelings you get from that is just temporary and false. But if you really put energy into Krishna consciousness, into focusing, I keep repeating that word. Thank you, Maharaj. Focus. If we just focus on whatever it is we're doing, whether we're reading, focus. In my case, whatever I know, the majority of it comes from hearing Prabhupada. I learn more by actually hearing Prabhupada give a lecture than by reading. Because something about Prabhupada's voice, when I hear Prabhupada speak, it really enters. And whatever, when he gives a class, if he mentions some verse that I don't know, then I want to learn that verse. Like that. So Prabhupada really inspires me, hearing him. But his books are recorded speech. Prabhupada never wrote. He didn't write. If you've seen that short clip video that Yadabar and his wife did, Vishaka, called Brilliant as the Sun. It shows the entire process of how Prabhupada's books are created. So it begins with Prabhupada holding a dictaphone. And he would speak. And it was recorded in those days on a big reel. And that reel was given to somebody who put on headphones, put it on a different player, played it back, and then they type what they heard. That's called transcribing. When you hear something and then you type it, that's called transcribing. So that's how Prabhupada's books were made. And that transcribed manuscript was given to an editor. Editor, notice I said that word. Sometimes people say they're editing Prabhupada's book. Prabhupada started the editing process. We didn't force Prabhupada to edit his books. He wanted his books edited. So some editor would edit the transcribed manuscript, then the changes, suggested changes would go back to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada would say yes or no, whatever. That's how it is. So when we read Prabhupada's books, it's actually hearing Prabhupada. But I'm touched or affected more when I actually hear his voice, when I hear Prabhupada giving a lecture. It really drives home.
One question.
Wait. Give it. This will be our last question.
Okay.
So Pranam to all exalted devotees. Question is, I know today is few children's birthdays here. So that song is, one of the lines says, "May we not born again." But in Narottama Das Thakur, on his Hari Hare Nama Krishna, in 7th stanza says that Janame Janame hoy ei abhilash.
Yeah.
So can you clarify,
Yes, this is the
please?
purview of pure devotees. Pure devotees naturally have that attitude. They want to serve the Lord. It doesn't matter whether I'm in the material world or the spiritual world. I just want to serve the Lord for His satisfaction. Narayana paraksarve nakutasya bibhati swarga pavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshana. One who's Narayana Parayana or Christian Parayana, one who's completely sold out, pure devotee, it doesn't matter where they are. Nakutasya Swarga, heavenly planet. Apavarga, spiritual world. Naraka, hellish planet. They don't care where they are. They're going to do the same thing. Prabhupada said a pure devotee is like a typewriter. Whether the typewriter is on earth or it's in the heavenly planets, or it's going to do the same thing. Cut. So a pure devotee, wherever they are, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to glorify God. They're going to glorify Krishna. And for them, Janama Janama, it doesn't matter. They can take birth again. And like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Mama Janmani Janmanishwari. Yeah, but that's on the pure level. And Prabhupada noticed that we were using that as an excuse. Oh, I'd take birth. Prabhupada said, no, get out in this lifetime. Be serious. Otherwise, it's easy to say, okay, Janame, next life. No. Be serious, Prabhupada said. This world is becoming it is a hellish place. So don't stick around. Don't think it's going to be better in your next life. Just imagine, we're only 5,000 years into Kali Yuga, and already things are so bad. Can you imagine the Kali Yuga lasts for how long? Who knows?
More than 1 lakh years?
232,000 years. So there are 227,000 years left to go in Kali Yuga. Just imagine, if it's so bad already after 5,000 years, what's going to be like in another 5,000 years or 50,000 years from now? You don't want to be here. Don't want to be here. So Prabhupada said, don't think Janame in the beginning. Yes, when you come to the perfectional stage, fine, that's your natural inclination. But we need the impetus to get out of here. That this place is a horrible place. I don't want to stick around and wait for it to get worse. Krishna, please get me out of here. Take me back to home, back to Godhead. Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.